All right, Algebra 1, we're getting ready for our Chapter 6 test. So on our weekly agenda, you have the study guide there on Chapter 6. So we're going to click on that link. Kind of started it yesterday, but just going to kind of show you how that works. So you got to log into your Google account. And then, so that we're going to do together today. But for homework, you want to make sure you're doing the I do. So we're going to kind of look at these. Anytime I am working anything out, when I'm working it out, when I'm working it out on here, you're probably working it out on your own piece of paper, okay? So let me erase all those marks. It's a little harder for me to do this on the iPad, but that's okay. All right, so let's zoom in just a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna scroll down a little bit here. Alrighty, so as you can see, I'm using the pencil tool at the top. Okay, if you're graphing anything, you want to use the pencil tool. Otherwise, any algebra you need to work out, that's something you'll want to do on a separate sheet of paper. But what you need to make sure of is to make sure anything in the text box here is entered, and then anything in the on the graphs are entered, okay? So here we go. So starting with number 1, this one I want to get x by itself, so I just divide by -4. If I divide by a negative, remember I need to flip it. So flip it around, I get -7. Okay, so that's what I need to put in the text box. But before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and graph this. So -7 would be about right here, so I just put -7 there, and then I just draw a circle. So open circle, since it's not underlined, and then it's pointing to the right. And that's all you have to do for the graph, okay? And then in the text box, I'm just putting X, and then see at the top, I have all those symbols. So I pick the correct symbol, and then -7. And there we go. So on to the next one. For this one, I'm going to subtract 4x to the other side to get x on one side only. I want x on the left side. Make sure we're getting x on this side, okay? And so I have 4x minus 4 less than 20. And now let's solve for x. So I add 4 to both sides. I get 4x less than 24. Then I divide by 4, get x less than 6. So that's what I'm going to graph here. So 6 would be about right here. It's again an open circle since it's not underlined, and then it's pointing to the left this time. Okay, so in the text box, I'm going to go ahead and put x less than, put 2 of them, less than 6. Okay, all right. And so see how when I'm done with it, I push the far right button that says go back to the other stuff, okay? So moving down here, I'm going to zoom in just a little bit. There we go. So number 3, I got to distribute combine like terms. So 5 times p is 5p. 5 times 3 is 15. Minus 2p greater than or equal to 7p minus 1. Okay, so combine like terms. We've got 3p there plus 15 greater than or equal to 7p minus 1. Again, I want to get the variable on one side, so I'm going to subtract 7p over here. I want the variable on the left side here. Didn't mean that. All right, and so what we end up with is negative 4p plus 15 greater than or equal to negative 1. Then I subtract 15 to both sides. I get negative 4p greater than or equal to negative 16. And so I divide by negative 4, which means I need to flip it. So p less than or equal to negative divided by negative is positive 4. Okay, and so that would be my answer. Less than or equal to 4. So again, 4 would be about right here. This time it's a closed circle going to the left. Okay. All right, so let's go to the next one here. I'm going to change the color just so we can see the difference between the two. So over here, we've got 2 parentheses to take care of. So that's 3 times 5 is 15p. 3 times 6 is 18. Okay. Less than or equal to 5 times 3 is 15p. 5 times negative 4 is negative 20. Okay. And so, see what happens when I subtract 15p, they cancel out, which is something we discussed during our notes. So 18 is less than or equal to negative 20. Well, 18 is not less than negative 20, so that is false. And so in here, I would say no solution, or in my text box, I would say that in words, no solution. Okay, and I forgot to do the text box on the left, so let's do that. P, and then where's the text box here? Oh, there it is. So I need to, yeah, so right here on the left, it's less than or equal to, so there it is, and then 4. All right. So hopefully that makes sense so far. So number 5, let's go to number 5 here. These two are compound. So again, when we talked about these two, we have to do these. If it's or, you just do them separately. Okay, so like on the left side here, I've got 5x. So I'm going to add 2 to the other side. Oops. And I get negative, oops, what is going on? Negative 5x greater than or equal to negative 10. Divide by negative 5. And I have to flip it. Goodness gracious, this thing is not easy to write on. So I flipped it, and now I get 2. So that's what I'm going to put in the text box. But first I'm going to go ahead and graph that. So there's 2. It's a closed circle pointing to the left. Okay, so x less than or equal to 2. All right. And go this one here. So when you have, oh, I'm not done with that one, am I? Oops. All right, so on the other side, I need plus 3. So 4x greater than 12. Divide by 4. And I get x is greater than 3. So this is an or situation, so I got to just graph both of them. So x is less than or equal to 2, which I already did. And then or x is, and I'm just going to type it here, greater than 3. Okay. And so when I graph that, there's 2, there's 3. This time it's an open circle going the other way. So remember, or kind of goes outward. Okay. So let's look at the other one here. So on number 6, I have this in the middle. Okay. So I need to get x by itself in the middle. So I subtract 6, but I got to subtract 6 to everything. Okay. And so I get negative 21 here. Still less than. The 6 is canceled. I get 7x less than or equal to 35. Okay, so now I divide by 7, but I got to divide 7 all 3 spots. So that's negative 3 less than x now less than or equal to 5. So what that says is that x is between those 2 spots. So when I graph that, I've got negative 3 about right here, and 5 about right here. And so there's a circle here that's open because there's no underline with the 3, and then a closed circle with the 5. And then the graph goes between them. All right? So that's the first 6 there. So let's look at the last few real quick, and then we'll be done. Okay, so let's look at this one. This one's already ready to graph, which is nice. So I've got my symbol right here, makes it dotted. Okay, makes it dotted, and it makes it go shade up. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and graph the circle here, negative 3, and then up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2. So it is a dotted line, so I'm going to make my dotted line here. And this is not graphing very well.
This is from Cash. Cash's mom.
Oh, thank you. And then I need to shade above or below. Okay, so I'm going to shade above, which would be there. Okay, so what is the solution? I just need to pick any point that is in that region. So I'm just going to pick the easiest point I know of, which is 0, 0. So in my solution, I'm putting parentheses 0, comma, 0, parentheses, and we're done. Okay, so on this one, we got to get at y by itself first. So I'm subtracting, I'm going to change colors there. Subtract 3x to both sides to get y by itself. And so that's negative 4y less than or equal to negative 3x plus 8. And I apologize about this. This is not writing very well. Goodness gracious. Okay, so I got to divide negative 4 to everything, which means I need to flip it. So I get my final equation, y greater than or equal to, because I had to flip, and that's negative divided by negative is positive 3 over 4, x minus 2. 8 divided by negative 4 is 2. So negative 2 is my y-intercept, and I'm going up 3, right 4. This time it's a solid line because it's underlined, and I'm going up once again. So here's my line, and I'm going to shade, oh my gosh, and I'm going to shade up. Oh my gosh, this thing is unbelievable. I apologize. It will be a lot easier on your computer because it is not going well on mine. Okay, and so now it says pick a point that's not a solution. So I just pick one that's not in the shaded region. So I'm going to pick this one. That's 2, negative 4. So that's the point I put. 2, comma, negative 4. Parentheses. And we're done with that one. Okay? And so the last one is just a graph. So remember, when it's y equals, this is a horizontal line. Okay? So I'm going to use a horizontal line. So at 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, on the y-axis, since it's y equals, I plot that point, and I make my line going horizontal. But remember, here it's not underlined, so it's a dotted line. And then since it's greater than, it's going to shade upward. So my shading would be above that line. Okay? So that's basically what we need to be looking like, and that's what the test will look like as well. But again, you can do all your work on your own piece of paper. It's going to be lots easier if you do that. All you have to do is make sure the graphs are on there and the text box are taken care of. And then whatever work you have, you're going to probably email that to me or submit it on Canvas. Okay? And then click I'm done. And then it'll be ready to grade. Okay? Peace.